Today, I'm taking you along on my artist's date. We're on the boat headed to Weggis, Switzerland, for a day of exploring and getting creative inspiration flowing. Artist dates are an idea by Julia Cameron of The Artist's Way, and they are intended to be solo excursions to do or see something that interests you, lights a fire, encourages play and imagination. I can't wait to see what the day holds for me. So we are walking to a beautiful panoramic view that I'm going to paint at or sketch at and share with you. It's hard to decide where to sit. There are so many beautiful spaces, restaurants, outside, terraces, benches by the lakeside, just so many options. But I keep walking for a while because walking inspires me a lot. It's so freeing, so rejuvenating, and looking at crystal clear water like this, it's hard to really sit down and decide to stay put. But I do. Alright, so I found a spot that I want to do some sketching or painting at. I'm going to confess something to you. I have a fear of sketchbooks, especially sketching in public. So sitting down outside for this took some guts, made me quite self-conscious, and filming it did not make it less nerve-wracking. All over social media and YouTube, I see artists sharing beautiful sketchbook tours of seemingly effortless art, but I don't have those skills. My usual art style, the one I've been developing over the last 3 years, is super detailed and intricate, and it takes forever for even the smallest piece. My initial sketches are bad, and that phase takes me longer than the painting itself. As I sit here, intimidated by the skills of other artists, intimidated by the natural beauty surrounding me that my skills cannot live up to, worried passers-by will stop with curiosity and judge the poor result, I decide to treat the sketchbook as truly that. Not a measure of skill or success, not the location for final versions of any work, but as a place to create and capture ideas, to play, to have fun, to be inspired. So I paint super loose, super fast, carefree, adding random little circles and lines and not caring about the colors. The result in the sketchbook was bad art, really, but I enjoyed the making of it so much. I loved letting go. So I encourage you, if your art is detailed, let loose. If you paint big, paint tiny. If you love color, make a sketch in black and white. Shake up the expectations and fears and just have fun. My next artist date idea is to go for a walk, or even better if you can, take a hike out in nature. Now, as artists, I think so often we are stuck behind our desks willingly, but we spend a lot of time sitting indoors. Honestly, if views like this don't inspire you, what can? But getting outside is so inspiring, and it makes me so happy. I have some of my very best ideas when I'm walking and not even really trying to find ideas. It's the same like, stereotypically having great ideas in the shower. For our next artist date, why don't we head to some artist shops, local shops run by artists and artisans in your area. There is actually 3 here in Weggis, which is quite surprising given the small town, but I think it's absolutely incredible if you have the chance to go check some out. This one, for example, is run by 8 local female artists. They split shifts, so make sure you check the opening times. They're pretty limited, but it's so beautiful to see all the different materials and all the different stunning end results. So I definitely recommend just checking it out. It's so so cool. And well, I also think it's an opportunity to connect with other artists, and that's so important, to be able to bounce ideas off of each other, to have that connection in the artist community. It is a wonderful thing. So try not to be too shy. I know it's hard, but try to have a conversation while you go to one of those shops. Now let's make our way to the final artist date idea of this video. I'm sure you've seen these around. And if you haven't, you should really go seek one out. They have these free little local libraries in a lot of areas around the world. And basically, the neighborhood can bring books and take a book at no cost. It's an incredible insight, I think. It makes you so curious about my neighbors in this case. Or, if you're traveling, I think it gives you a lot of thoughts about the people that live there, a lot of information to ponder. And if you're super lucky, you might find an incredible book like I did, which was this about the language of flowers. And I have been thinking about painting kind of a wreath for some artwork to welcome my baby into the world for the nursery. And this will give me more ideas to make that wreath much more meaningful using the language of flowers. So jackpot. This is a good day. I am so glad that I took the time to go on this artist date for myself. I, kind of did something creative that I usually wouldn't. So that was a really nice way to push myself back into doing any kind of creative work and just doing it for the fun of it, just being joyful and not worrying so much about, is this project perfect? How much time is it going to take? Is it going to be something that, people are going to enjoy, that's going to get me any kind of exposure? All those kind of thoughts you have. Is it going to be good enough? I didn't care. I just had a really good time, and I encourage you once in a while to go out there and go on an artist date yourself and be inspired no matter what, no matter the end result. Just enjoy the day. I wanted to show you one of the pieces of artwork that I created based on the inspiration and ideas I gathered during these artist dates. Now, before I talk a little more about this piece, I think it's super important to reiterate that there is no pressure. You do not have to create a specific piece of artwork just because you went on an artist date. Art is so much about ideas, connecting ideas, and I think it's important to have joy while you're creating and be excited to create. And so that's really why I went on those artist dates. And the fact that I did come up with a specific little painting that I wanted to do was kind of a bonus that I can relate right back to those artist dates. So as you see, I'm painting a seagull because they really impressed me with how they were able to float and their sounds, and it just really grabbed my attention and held my attention for after the date. So I decided to paint one, and I was so happy because I think my painting is so much better than those sketches on site, which I told you, that's how my art works. I just can't do it spontaneously and quickly while I'm there. But I did create this, and then I didn't go for perfect. I wanted to create something, and so I decided, instead of having kind of the animated part of this painting be the bird, which would take so much more time, I would just have the water and the sky move. And yes, it's amateurish, but I got a huge kick out of it. I had a wonderful time creating, and isn't that what a lot of life is about?